Hey, welcome back everyone. We're back here at Blueprint, yet another EVO X. We're going to do flex fuel on this. Beautiful, this is wrapped, I think it's called Battleship Gray. This is a 2.0 oversized valves, S2 cams with no sleeves, pistons and steel rods. Omni 4-bar. What else? And a, I think, GT35 76 Spec turbo. I'm not sure if it's, can't turbo by Canada or Turbos R Us. I'll find out soon. Full exhaust, 2000 cc single pump in the back. And the guy's looking for track power, nothing crazy, but he does want flex fuel. So we're going to tune this today. Very excited. A little history is, I guess it went around a few places and they couldn't get the car to work properly, but we got to sort it out. They had some issues. But yeah, stay tuned. This is Leo's car. Well, Lau actually. Lau's car.
I'm not in it though.
Was it hard to strap the front with my tray on the bottom?
I don't know.
You have some tricks?
Was it hard, Mo?
Nah, I have a trick for this.
I gotta say, this is one of my favorite colors ever. Yeah, it's gonna touch.
You shouldn't, bro.
Nah, but the car will squat.
Yeah.
And then it'll touch.
Hopefully it doesn't touch.
We'll see what we do. He's gonna check it. If you have good suspension, like stiff, it won't. All right, so this is Leo. He's the owner of this car. I was gonna say that this is I'm sorry, Lau. I have a friend named Leo, who just happens to be a drug dealer. And we got the whole family here. The color. What color is this?
I believe this is
This looks like Battleship Gray to me.
dark Battleship Gray.
Yeah, these look awesome on like hatch racks.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about the car. What's in it? What you've been through?
Been through a lot, man. This was my last resort.
Okay.
Got screwed up a couple shops, but
Okay, no names.
my man here hooked me up, and
So what's in the car?
very moderate build. It's fully built motor, but very small turbo,
But no sleeves.
no sleeves.
Okay.
Something for the track.
Right. It looks like a track car. What kind of turbo? I thought it was a G35 76, but it's a special one, right?
Yeah, it's a 3576, but it's a board compressor housing. So
But what's the company that
it's
modified
made by
it?
TPC, I believe.
Okay.
But
Turbo, what? Turbo Canada?
Yeah, Turbo Parts Canada.
Okay. Cool. I've tuned a few, but usually just people get the regular GTX. We'll see how it does. What's your goal for this?
I don't need much. I'm looking for, in the 500s would be more than good enough for whatever you can give me, and then we'll take it down a notch so I can be nice.
Oh yeah, because all you have to do is, because we'll do highest level E85 possible, and if you want to spend the money on those gallons, we'll do 98%. So I know you will never see 98% using pump, but the car's tuned for it, and it'll lower it, your boost, timing, fuel, everything on its own, as you switch fuels. Okay. So we'll do the high horsepower, we'll do the lowest horsepower, and you're always somewhere in between. Okay. Yeah.
That's perfect.
All right, you ready, Mo?
Yeah.
now like 7.5. At the end, I'll do 8. So that was the first run. I hit a boost cut. That was intentional. I also saw that he was running a little bit lean, so I added fuel. Right now, I removed some of the boost cut. I put the wastegate down to 0. See what he is at on wastegate only. He's told me he put a 20 psi, but I don't think it is. So we're gonna test it right now. See where it's going. Expected. You know, this is how we tune. We start very, very rich. Mo! What the fuck is that? There was some breakup because it was running like 9s. Extremely rich when you have too much fuel. You ran wastegate just now? It was like 24, but then it went to like 20. Oh, yes. Well, yeah, because I'm not a 0 wastegate. Okay. But you're running like 9 AFR. Oh, yes, so I'm gonna take a lot of fuel out. Right. Good. Better, but still very, very rich. Alright, so you just saw me run the car like 4 or 5 times. It was causing constant knock right up there between 65 and red line. And you know, I adjusted everything. I did the mivec, I adjusted everything, nothing panned out. And I started looking at the mivec and it looks like it was a little off. And then I asked the customer, hey, what's going on? I think, you know, something's wrong with your timing. He tells me that the mivec solenoid, he's not using the OEM one. He got an aftermarket non-Mitsubishi one. And we just quickly exchanged that and all the knocks, everything just went away. So we're back to business. You killing me over here, Lau. You killing me, son.
My bad, man. Hey, man. That's what the dealer's telling me. You know what I mean? I went to the dealer. I said, they didn't have it.
It's good. No knock. 0. So this one was done just fixing the mivec solenoids that the customer used, an aftermarket one, with no other adjustments. As you can see, there was a power difference just from changing out a sensor or actuator. This was at 24 pounds, and we made like 390 something. And this is with, you know, I was still fighting fuel and the whole mivec system. So now we're actually going to move forward and try to turn the boost up a little bit. This is on 93. I'm going to just turn it up just a little bit, maybe like 27 pounds, maybe max. Because he's doing flex fuel, there's no need to have this of making all the power 93. Okay, so another problem. This had 2 solenoids, one for the true boost and the other one boost control ECU connector. There was 2 connections, and whatever shop it had before didn't use that, and I guess they used the stock connection, but they kind of spliced wires and all that stuff. So we tried one location where we thought it was a connection, and that wasn't it, but we got it figured out. Let's try, see if the solenoids actually work. So the dyno wasn't reading correctly. I think the RPM pickup basically moved in the middle of the dyno, and then it got into place again towards the higher RPMs, and it didn't pick up the torque correctly. It didn't calculate it correctly at the earlier RPM, but as you can see, we're making a little bit more power than before. I feel this turbo is kind of small compared to the mods he has. He has oversized valves and has 2 cams, and this does not feel like a GT-X35. It feels more like a 18K or like a 3076 or something like that, and it's journal bearing. So I feel like this is the wrong turbo for a setup, and it's already meeting, it's already at its like peak efficiency, or maybe a little past it.
All right, boss. So what did we find on this car right here?
So after all the issues that we've been dealing with since the morning, but you know, right now I am looking at the turbo efficiency because it's hitting 26 pounds. By the time it gets to like 6,500, 6,000, it struggling to hold boost, I gave it some more wastegate,
Okay.
but it's not liking it. It's basically out of breath. You got big tank, a big valve. So that's what it's struggling with. So it's blowing hot air.
Okay, yep.
And I basically lowered the boost up top and just gonna use a little tiny to get power.
Okay.
This should change greatly with the 85 because it's cooler.
Okay.
But definitely, this is not a GTX 35. Without any issue, I would have been 500 plus in the GTX.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
Ball bearing is a journal, right?
It's journal.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Work with what you got, right?
Yep.
So we're draining the fuel using the return line, and we're draining it in here. And if you look up the rule book for tuning, the excess fuel always goes to the tuner. So, and then we're gonna save one canister to mix it with the X98 and the E85 as much as highest ethanol percentage that we can get. Update on Project Nightmare right here. We got the car up and running. It's looking good. There was some leaks somewhere down here, but we fixed it. But yeah, this one has an S3 cam, 11.5 compression, sleeved. All right, so we switched fuels and we got 80% ethanol, and we're gonna see where we are. So with no other changes, just a fuel change to ethanol, we picked up a little bit of power. It's still the same boost, same timing, same everything, and the fuel AFR is pretty close as well. Content went down to 77. I gotta say, I don't think I like this turbo. I mean, for what it is, if they told me this is an 18G, 20G turbo, it's fine. Because that's what it feels like. But if they're telling me this is a GTX 35, I don't think so. 73% now.
73?
Yeah,
Well, probably didn't go up, it was higher, huh?
a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Probably the timing part, not the boost.
Okay.
Yo! Spray. It's 110 degrees. And he's already at 70%. So the ethanol content is 72%. Remember, we started at 84. We mixed X98 5 gallons and we put more in the pump 85. The real way to do this is basically tune your car on the second tank of the 85, but we don't have that luxury at the moment. So on this run, it made 486, and it was at 27 pounds, and then it dropped to 24 up top. We saw I think this was on like 73% ethanol. So after this run, I did 1 more pounds of boost and a little bit of timing to see if it will give me more power. And we actually lost a little bit of power. That tells me that it's time to stop and basically close the tune here. From this point on, I'm actually going to mix 93 octane with the already existing ethanol, try to bring down the ethanol content and see if the computer is actually calculating lowering boost, lowering timing, which I should see on my log, but also see as a result lowered power for the future 2 or 3 runs that I'm going to do with different mix of fuel. So after dropping the ethanol content to, I think it was like 60%, the ECU automatically lowered timing, boost, and calculated the fuel it needed, injector scaling and all that good stuff. And we made 448 with 60% ethanol. And then we mixed it again and lowered it to like 41%, and it made 438 at 41%. It's interesting to know that at 40%, there's a lot of knock deterrent compared to, say, just straight 93 ethanol. So a lot of these other platforms actually run like a E30 and make a lot of good power. So the final numbers are, we started with a base of 361, then we tuned the 93 and we made 414. And then on E85 we made 486, 88. He will always be between 414 and 486 depending on the ethanol content that he has. The car will never do below 400. That's the lowest it'll go on 93. This car gave us a lot of issues, mismatched parts, wiring, like I would say, always ask an expert or doing research online. And even with research, that information has to be, you have to be able to process it, because we all rely on forums and these other things, and
we'll have one person with this experience and another person with the same setup, a different experience, and those minor things make a difference. When it comes to listening to turbo kits and this, that, just do a little bit more research and see who is speaking. Some people actually advocate for certain brands and you don't even know that they're doing that. It's best to basically talk to, I would say, someone with a lot of experience that had personally owned cars. If someone says, hey, I've heard this, that, you know what, that's just hearing. You're spending over $1,000, over $2,000 on these things. So I would, owe it to myself to actually do the research, ask the experts, maybe a tuner and whatnot, and don't just go by what works on the forum or what you read on the forum. This car, as I mentioned, gave us a lot of trouble, and especially the owner, but it was very gratifying. I loved working on this car. This is what I like. I like solving puzzles and fixing things, and it was a pleasure to meet Lau. I appreciate the chance to meet his family and his car and be a part of a positive experience instead of the negative experience in his life. And that is basically what I'm here to do. And I want to keep thanking you guys for watching and showing the love. Keep the questions coming. I will answer everything, and I'm actually thinking about doing a Q&A video for that. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you again. See you next time.